And welcome to the fourth episode of Bigfoot Club. I am your host, Robert Jesse Dominguez. And with me,
Chris, back to be. Oh man, you just cut me off.
No, it's low.
It's nice to be back on the mic tonight.
It's on low.
Okay, I think he's getting back at me from last time because I was on the finger point this time and he's trying to cut me off. So.
And also,
Ash. Yeah.
Hey, thank you guys for being troopers and being here. So
yeah,
no
doubt.
So before we get started, I wanted to dedicate this episode to a special homeboy of mine.
You were my sun.
Sorry.
You were my earth.
Immediately.
So
Went there immediately.
So out the gate, we're hitting them hard with Justin Timberlake tonight. Right? So you and Justin are homeboys now, all right?
So God, I hope so.
So the shout outs, apparently the shout outs have found Justin, and now him and Rob are on good terms. They're homeboys.
Okay.
All right.
Also, before I get started, I wanted to dedicate this song to two girls at work, Candace and Caitlin. So this is for you. Oh Lord.
Best friends.
So that's out of the way. So. Oh man.
That's great. That's good stuff. They're gonna love that.
Yeah, they are. They will love it.
They're gonna love it
if they listen.
Yeah, that's the thing. Getting them to listen.
Yeah.
So,
but I when they hear it, they can probably see us.
Yeah,
walking in, swaying back and forth.
So
with our arms around each other.
Yeah.
That sounds kind of weird.
Yeah, we always play that song and
just be yourself.
And we
just
we just hug each other and we sway back and forth.
Yeah.
So, our first subject. You guys ready?
Let's do it.
Bigfoot. So, I wanted to start off with a story. Because this is a story that I was given permission to talk about, but I can't really go into too detail of it. So, and I know I talked to you guys off show about this. So this was when I was working at USBC, and
my bad.
Whoa, Ash going rogue over here. hey, we're supposed to start out with a fun fact.
Yeah.
You just straight steamrolled my.
Did I really? Okay, well let's reverse it. So.
Fun fact, premiering tonight at 9 p.m. Aliens and Bigfoot on History Channel 2.
I don't watch that show.
I don't either, but I'm probably going to take a look at it just to see how...
Yeah, I might.
How goofy it is.
Yeah, I might.
See what George Tsoukalos has to say about that.
So,
yeah.
Not too much in Bigfoot history on October 27th, so...
They're still mulling over the Patterson-Gimlin footage
probably
at that time.
Always and forever.
Always and forever.
Even if they figure it out.
He's beating you to singing already.
This moment with you.
Well, that's okay.
So, all
right. Sorry, man. I didn't mean to steamroll you.
It's okay. It's okay.
Back to when you were working at USBC.
When I was working at USBC, we had a vendor that was we had a service agreement with, and I would call and dispatch technicians to come out and take care of the building. And this guy reached out to me. I think I was talking to the sales guy, and I'm not going to say his name either. And he knew I was dabbling into Bigfoot stuff. And so he was just jokingly said to this other guy, he says, hey, if you want to find Bigfoot, talk to Dominguez. So this guy calls me up and says, hey, man, I need to talk to you off off hours. I said, okay. I said, call me. So he called me. And apparently he had a Bigfoot incident that he was talking, I guess happened like 20 years ago in Longview, southeast Longview. And it was near the Sabine River, between 322 and 3320 CR 3321. So if you look on the map, any map, you just pull it up. There's lakes and there's the Sabine River there. So apparently he had a relative that was suspect of maybe abusing, I guess, his sister-in-law. And so this guy is a big dude, and he's like, I don't know, like 6'5", like 300 pounds. So he went to go talk to his brother-in-law to go straighten him out. So so he goes over to this guy's, and so apparently this guy had a trailer on this plot of land that's right next to the river. And so he pulls up to go talk to him, and he sees there's like holes like in the trailer. So, which I thought was kind of interesting. And
Where were the holes on the trailer?
like on the walls, like it almost looked like someone was shooting at it.
Okay, how big were the holes on
Probably like, enough for like a buckshot.
Okay.
So he was thinking he was shooting it. I said, and he pulls up. He goes, "This asshole,"
Where, like, was it one solid hole?
It was like many.
Or was it like pelts?
It was like a bunch of them, like maybe like every so feet. Every like almost like if someone was walking beside the trailer, just boom, boom, boom. As they're walking. So
Okay.
So he goes and confronts, I guess, his brother-in-law, and so his brother-in-law was having a hard time finding a job. So his brother-in-law was, hunting off the land to provide his family, and so he was like, shooting possum, squirrels, and he had like a fish trap over by the Sabine River. So he was gonna talk in the woods with his brother-in-law, and so his brother-in-law said, well, he said he had some critter problems, and that he was walking to the river to go get this fish trap to feed his family, and so he was want to talk some sense into him, and then they were walking down this trail to the river, and out steps this Bigfoot. So and this guy, he said he freaked out, and he's a big dude, and he's not afraid of much stuff, but he was pretty scared whenever he was telling me this story. And so I think his brother-in-law had like a 45 or 44, I don't remember the story, but when he was telling him to shoot it, and he says, no, it's just gonna piss it off. So right, I stopped him right there at that story, and I go, did it show its teeth? And he says, yes. I go, did it rock back and forth? He says, yes. I go, did it grab trees and branches and start thrashing it? And he goes, yes. He goes, man, were you there? That's what he asked me. And then I said, I'm sorry, go ahead and continue. So this thing was like just making all kinds of noise, thrashing branches and trees, and just trying to stomp on its feet, and just screaming at these guys. So this brother-in-law kept going. He wanted to go get his fish. So, and this friend of mine was scared, and he was like walking behind him, and they were kind of like jogging and running at the same time. So this thing shadowed them all the way to the river. So the guy goes and gets his fish and then goes back, starts walking back the trail. And this thing is still trailing them, just shadowing them. And it's just screaming and just shaking all kinds of trees and bushes and just following them. So they finally make it back to the trailer. So then he goes, what was that? And he says, it's a critter. The guy was all calm and said, critter.
That was his critter problem?
That was his critter problem. So apparently he was having, I guess, marital issues. I got with this, I guess, critter was causing it, and so he was pretty scared. And I asked him, I said, "What's the address?" And he didn't want to give it to me. So, and I wanted to go back out there because, like, for like a Bigfooter, I mean, that's like, that's gold. Mm-hmm. I mean, for any kind of like activity like that, aggressive activity, that's what you want to do, and just catch it on video. So he said, you can go out there, but I'm not going out there. So he didn't want to go out there at all. So, which I thought was interesting. And to this day, I still want to go there. I want to go to Hallsville, and I want to go to this place. So this the two top on my list if I were to go back in the field and do stuff. So
this is not public land.
no, I believe the property belonged to his mother-in-law, and so he said this happened like 15 years ago. And I told him, I said, man, I wish I knew you 15 years ago. I would have ran out there quick just to see this property. So as far as I know, his mother-in-law still owns it. So I've asked for him to reach out to her if they were still having his problems. And I'd like to go out there and just look at it and just try to experience it or something, videotape it, something. So
Yeah.
you guys have any thoughts?
I mean, I always have thoughts, being the skeptic at the table here.
Yeah.
I always have thoughts, but it's kind of, I don't know the guy. I don't know anybody.
Right.
I just know you,
Right.
and know your dealings with this guy, and I know you trust him,
Yeah.
and I trust you. But hearing a story like that without actually going out there myself and seeing stuff.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know. It's enough that this 6 foot, 300 pound guy was legitimately scared of something out there.
Yeah.
So there's something out there, and he hasn't gone back in 15 years, and he doesn't plan on going back.
He doesn't want to.
So something legitimately scared this guy, and so there's something out there.
Right.
But I like the detail that, you were like, hey, did he show his teeth? Did
Yeah.
he sway back and forth? Did he shake the stuff? And he's like, hey, were you there or what?
Yeah.
Well, one, that says you've done your research and you kind of know a little bit about Bigfoot.
Yeah.
But I don't know.
Ash?
Yeah. I mean, kind of samesies. I don't know this person. I haven't been there, but
Yeah.
it is interesting,
Yeah, I think so. I mean,
I have to go back and check it out. But I think if it is where the general idea where I think it might be,
right.
I've heard other people talk about things like that out there.
Yeah.
In that area.
And this is not too far from Hallsville.
That's what I was going to say. It's
like
not
over by where the loop meets the interstate, I think.
20.
Yeah.
And it's not.
Yeah. It's mostly, farms and stuff out there and like trucking businesses and stuff. It's kind of remote,
And it's, if you were to be at the cemetery where y'all were at and y'all said that y'all saw the eyes, it is in that direction that, and again, I've stated before on here, if this thing is this big, it can travel long distances in very short amount of time. So from where this is to Hallsville in that area where you said you saw the eyes, what really jumps out to me in this story is this dude that's not so big is just like, whatever, I got a critter problem, I'm going down here to get my fish.
Yeah.
It's possible at that point. If
He's
it's
probably
been going on for so long.
Yeah.
They know that it's just making
He's
noise.
probably seen it so much that it's nothing to him now.
But that just, to me, if Bigfoot's out there, he's not mean.
right.
Yeah.
Because if he wanted to be mean, he'd be stealing homeboys' fish. He's like, oh, hey, look, this guy's catching my food and going and taking them.
You know what I forgot to say was this guy that was telling me the story how I was asking him how it looked, and I was asking him, this is gonna sound kind of weird to what I'm gonna say, and I asked for details when someone sees something like so vivid like this. Mm-hmm. I asked him, I said, did you see its nipples? And I know that sounds kind of funny, but it's like the details that I go, did you see it was a man or a female? A male or female. He says, you know what? I really didn't look there. So, but he did say he saw nipples. He said this thing he couldn't see a neck on it. That's what he said. He said he didn't see a neck on it. It was so massive. It was so wide. And I think he had said something about that he had met Andre the Giant. This guy's, he's pretty old. And he said this thing was bigger than Andre the Giant. And he said it moved so quickly that it looked like it was floating. That's what he said. So for this thing to be so big, so massive, and then move so quickly, he was astonished by it.
What did he say anything about it making, like vocalizing?
Yeah, he did say it was screaming at them, and I said it was a growl, grunt. He says, yeah, I was growling and grunting, and so as he was pounding the ground and pounding bushes and branches and stuff, it was growling and grunting at him. So I asked him if it whooped, hollered, whistled. He says, no, I don't remember any of that.
And while this is going on, home dude's still going after his fish.
Yeah.
Gotta eat, man.
So, you also mentioned in there that they were having, the guy that lives there and his wife were having marital problems because of this critter problem.
Right.
What was it about this critter problem that was making them have...
I guess, he was looking for a job. I'm spitballing here. And she was there by herself and saw this thing, told him.
She was scared.
She was scared, told him about it. I don't think she told her sister, which is this guy's wife, about it at all until, this friend of mine got there and he sees it and, oh my God, it's more than what you think. And so he had thought that his brother-in-law was shooting up the trailer, but the brother-in-law was, I think later on that evening, they were drinking whiskey on the porch of this trailer, and he kind of eased up and he kind of started opening up a little bit. And so he was telling my friend that this Bigfoot was coming out and punching the trailer. And so my friend thought that this guy was shooting his trailer, pissed off at his wife, but this Bigfoot was, punching holes through the trailer.
Okay, this just doesn't make any sense to me, because if a big freaking hairy dude's punching my trailer, I'm leaving.
You're leaving, right? So maybe they're financially trapped. I don't know. So.
Financially trapped, whatever trapped, I'm leaving.
Right.
I will go live in a tent on the side of the highway, so I know Bigfoot's not going to hit my house.
If I wasn't so into Bigfoot, I probably would do the same thing. But I'm kind of into him, so I probably would have stayed. That's me.
Correct me if I'm wrong. And I think I've heard like a newer trailer and stuff that the like carpet glue smells or whatever from that like attract them or whatever. I think I've heard that before.
I've heard that too. I've heard of tractor grease. I've heard of glue. I've heard of deer salt, salt blocks. They're interested in stuff like that.
Yeah.
So I've heard
like a salt lick for a horse.
Yeah.
Or
like a deer.
Deer.
Yeah, they'll come up and
sense,
they come up and lick it or just pull it away. And I've heard stories of them going up to a tractor that's bulldozing an area after the workers have gone home and lick the grease. I've heard the story. So,
how valid are these?
I mean, you got to take it with a grain of salt. I mean,
because I take it all with a grain of salt. Because
right. I mean, I get it. I get where you're coming from, but I mean, I'm not here to convince anybody. I'm just reporting what I read and what I was told. I said, okay, that's kind of odd, but I'll go with it.
Yeah,
they're omnivorous, so
it kind of like makes them act kind of aggressive like that. Like
yeah, because they think it's food
or something, like the smells or whatever, or even if it's something new in the area, they're gonna mess with it. So that makes me wonder how long that trailer had been there.
Yeah.
And, if it's kind of one of those things that they just put out there in the middle of the woods, and that's why he was like he just showed up here. What's going on,
Kind of like territory issues.
Yeah.
You've invaded my space. Now I'm going to punch holes in your trailer.
Man, I'm telling you guys right now, I want to go to this place. I really do.
I mean, I want to go.
So I've been asking this guy for like years. Give me the address. So I say, call your mother-in-law.
Well, we have a vicinity of where it is. I mean, we know.
Yeah, it's just like I think he was telling me also that the neighbors had some Rottweilers, and a couple of the Rottweilers went missing.
You did tell me this story.
Yeah,
you told me this.
So they came up missing. Like I think one of them was chained to one of those lines that you put out clothes on. They had like a little T, and they were chained to it and was running back and forth. And I think his brother-in-law had told him that that one of the Rottweilers went missing. Like just scooped it up and took off with it.
I'm still thinking he's got free food in this fish trap over here. That home dude's catching.
Maybe he just busted out, went after it, and it killed it. I don't know,
maybe the fish trap was empty that night.
Long John Silver.
And he said, "Oh, Rottweiler sounds really good right now."
I'm sick of fish. Let's try something German.
Yeah.
Hot dogs. But
So yeah, there's a lot.
There's a lot going on in that one.
A lot going on in that story, and again, like I said, I don't know either one of the people in it.
Yeah,
but 6'5", 300 pound. That's a large mammal in itself.
Yeah,
and for him, did he say it was taller than him?
Yeah, he did say it was he said he met Andre the Giant.
Yeah, and it was bigger than Andre the Giant.
This thing made Andre the Giant dwarf.
So Andre the Giant was 7 foot.
Yep.
And 500 pounds.
Something like that, yeah.
He's a huge, not just a large mammal, a huge mammal.
Yeah.
And he's bigger than Andre the Giant. And so for him to be so scared that he doesn't go out there, I mean, that holds a little bit of...
Yeah.
And
I mean, I wouldn't want to get into a fight with this guy.
Yeah, I wouldn't want to tango with somebody that big.
Yeah, I mean...
And if this thing is bigger
than this guy, yeah.
I wanted to go back and ask you...
Shoot.
You kind of hit on a subject about the nipples.
The what?
The nipples.
The nipples, yeah.
If it was a male or a female, like, does one or the other have nipples and the other one doesn't? What's so significant about these nipples?
Details are always important. This is a teaser for another story. But there was a lady that had a sighting, and that was the first thing she talked about was its nipples. And I'm gonna say this, and it's penis.
So she saw nipples and a penis.
Yeah, and so that always stuck to me. And so details always. If so, because like so many people see a Bigfoot cross the road, and say it crossed the road, and I was driving fast, and it went past. I went past it. It was dark. I didn't see it after that.
It's the blob squatch.
Yeah,
the blob squatch.
That's
actually
very
a term.
technical terminology.
Blob squatch.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's what the picture in North Carolina. The blurry.
That's a blob squatch.
That's a blob squatch. So
and that's what most people see and capture.
Learn something every day, right?
We know for sure it's real.
So nipples.
Right.
Back to the nipples. When I watch this Patterson Gimlin film, there's no nipples.
It's got breasts.
Yeah.
If you really break it down, I'm gonna push this guy, and I really don't want to. Is MK Davis. So he does a lot of video stuff, and he's like extensively broke down the Patterson Gimlin film.
So there's nipples on this.
You don't see the nipples, but you see the breast. And the Bigfoot on there is called Patty because
they believe it's a female.
It's a female. It's got breasts. So if you go down and look at it, if you look up like MK Davis on YouTube, he breaks it down, and you can see it. So details have always been important to me. So I always asked like the color, if you could see, male or female, nipples, teeth, neck, no neck, eyebrows, color of the eyes, cheeks, whatever. I mean, if someone sees this thing, it's going to be infused in their mind. Mm-hmm. And so that's just how I look at it.
Well, yeah, just like we were talking, before off mic, we were talking about how we were searching for the place that y'all had y'all's experience in Hawesville, and as soon as you saw it, you were like, that's it.
Yeah.
Shot the picture straight to Ash, and Ash was like, yep, that's it.
Been there once in the middle of the night 12 years ago.
12 years ago. But if something that significant happens, it's going to be embedded in your mind. And if you do see these details, I'm just intrigued with the fact that these individuals were... One, when I'm scared, I don't remember details. I don't.
Yeah.
I just don't. I'm legit scared. If you were to ask me, there's a show It's called Brain Games. Mm-hmm. And there's an episode where it goes through the way your mind works in like high stress situations. And what they do is they stage a crime scene, and then they go and ask individuals that saw this crime scene, and people are like, "Oh, I remember exactly what it was like. I remember every detail," and it's nothing like what happened. Nothing.
That's true. I mean,
and so when I put myself in a position to where I've been scared, and I've been scared multiple times in my life.
Yeah.
I don't remember, and we've talked about it before on this show that we don't get video of it or we don't get audio of it because we're so wrapped up in the holy crap, I'm scared right now.
Right.
What is going on that we don't even think about putting phones or anything like that. Also, if you've ever been in a situation to where, you know, somebody has tried to take something from you, somebody's tried to steal something from you, you can sit there and think all you want to and try to remember what this individual's wearing, what they look like. And a lot of times people don't. People don't, because you don't think about that. You think about your safety and getting out of there. And sometimes, you're stone cold in that moment because you can't move, but then you pop back in reality and you take off. So
Did you say stone cold?
Stone cold.
What? What?
Stone cold.
What?
Stone cold.
What?
Stone cold.
Okay.
So
That's the wrong one.
Sorry, I had to do that.
So it intrigues me that these individuals are in these situations and they express that they're so scared, but yet they have all these details.
Yeah.
They have. But then again, I go back to y'all's story, and y'all remembered where the creek was. Y'all remembered how far it was off the road. You remember this. You remember that. So I don't know. I just know that, and I'm basing this simply just off of my experiences and my. If I don't have recordings of, I don't remember a lot about good experiences. When I experienced a good experience, I don't remember details about it.
Yeah.
I remember the experience, and I remember, but I can't tell you.
Yeah, I mean, I thought about that a lot. I mean, because I've always asked myself because I've never seen a Bigfoot.
Yeah.
I mean, I think it's pretty clear. I've said that before. I've never seen a Bigfoot, but I always used to tell myself, I said, how am I going to react when I do see one?
Yeah.
I mean, am I going to run? Am I going to be, fight or flight?
Fight or flight, yeah.
So I don't know. Maybe it's a chemical that's released in someone's brain, and when they see this thing that they know they're not supposed to see, or is possible of seeing, and they just get into details. I don't know. I mean,
because your friend even said, man, I didn't even think to look.
Yeah.
You don't think about stuff like that.
I mean, maybe.
And then here's this individual saying, "Hey, I saw some nipples and a penis."
Yeah.
Were you looking it up and down? Were you scanning this thing?
Well, and it might not have been aggressive, and they weren't trying to get away from it.
Well, and true, and I'm not trying to be funny here.
Right.
I'm legitimately trying to be serious. If this individual is short, well, if you're standing in front of something that big, the penis might be right in your face.
Well, that one story is that she was in a truck.
Yeah.
And
so she's.
And all she saw was nipples and the penis when this thing walked up to the window. So,
I hate it when that happens.
So maybe
You're just going about your business, and next thing you know,
I'm telling you right now, we're gonna get crap about this.
Well, I mean, it is what it is. But
don't look at any major primate. Come on.
So she's in a truck, and the only thing she can remember is nipples and a penis.
That should be the name of the episode.
Nipples and penis. I don't. These people have to have a great memory. Yeah. They have to be cool under pressure, I guess, to remember these details. But then again, that's just me talking. I don't remember details about stuff. Mm-hmm. Something could happen, and then they come and ask me man, I don't know. I was scared.
So, I mean, I've been in the woods This is back when I had a Mossberg pump shotgun, and I was in the woods, and I think I was in Sulphur Springs, and I was with maybe like 4 guys, and I heard something like to me it sounded like a train going through the woods. It was like just trouncing stuff.
Like a train or a train horn?
No, a train.
Just a train, like
it's just like running over like branches and stuff. I said, "Oh crap, something's coming!" So I turned and I pumped the shotgun, ready to go, and it was an armadillo. And it was like making so much noise. I said,
"They do." And
it's just like I said, "Man."
Well, and when you're out in the middle of the woods, there's a ton of echo.
Yeah.
That travel because there's so many trees. When sound travels, it bounces off of one, then goes to another one, bounces, and it's going everywhere. So a little crack of a branch or something like that, and it's loud. Like I've been hunting, and I'm in the brush, and I see a deer in front of me, and I'm like, okay, I got to get a little bit closer. Mm-hmm. So and it's just a little, and man, it's that deer.
It's gone.
Boom.
Yeah.
In a flash. And I only say that because you'd mentioned earlier before that they react like deer.
Right.
Yeah. They mimic a deer.
They either want to be seen or they don't.
Well, I think if they wanted to be seen, I think if they wanted to be interacted with, if they're out there,
right.
If they want to interact with individuals, I think they would. From everything that I've known about Bigfoot and all the stories that I've heard, they just want to be left alone.
They do.
Because if they wanted to be found, if they're that dadgum big, they're going to be found. You know, if there's any of them out there and they want somebody to find them, they'll just come up and say, "What's up?" You know. So I think they just want to be left alone.
They do, and I know I mentioned this before. If they want to be seen, they will. I mean, I'm guessing they're moving young, or you're in their way of food or water. That's if they want to be seen. So, oh man, I hate to say this, but I think this episode's going to be called "Nipples and Penises."
Brilliant. It's clickbait.
or ends and peas.
Ends and peas.
Mind your ends and peas.
Oh man, I might have to go with that one.
On the glass.
So,
niblets and hoo-hoos.
Niblets and hoo-hoos. What is that?
I don't know.
They're hostess cakes.
It's a
Hostess cakes.
Oh my god, I'm gonna pass out. Oh, you guys are so funny. Oh my god. Okay. Composure. JT,
Let's get our bearings here.
JT, where are you? Okay.
So, all right. I'm going to go back to the original story we started with before we got on ends and peas and hostess cakes.
Right.
So how long do you know how long this guy had lived there? Do you know, you said that you think his mother-in-law still owns the property. Mm-hmm. How long was this guy living there? Do you know?
I don't know. I just know it was about 15, 20 years ago. And so
you really don't have a lot of information on this guy. You just have the story that your buddy told you.
Yeah.
And he said, "I'm not giving you the address, and I'm not going back out there."
Yeah, because apparently, I guess I'm assuming that he's not with his wife anymore, so he's not on good terms with.
And it's his mother-in-law.
It's his mother-in-law. So yeah, he doesn't talk to them anymore. Do
you know if anybody else has been out there to investigate?
As far as I know, he doesn't know. So I mean, I don't think they're the type of people that just don't, because I think he said that I was the only person he talked to. His son or his wife doesn't even know. And so I'm the only person he said that he talked to was just me.
So this guy he wasn't like a Bigfoot hunter or anything. Like,
nope.
He didn't have nothing to do with Bigfoot.
Nope.
Nothing.
He just knew I was into Bigfoot.
And this was just word of mouth. He found out you're
yeah.
That's it. See, this just solidifies why you're doing what you're doing.
Right.
Because there's got to be other individuals like this gentleman that had this experience that don't even tell their son and their wife.
Right.
But they're going to come to somebody
like me.
They want to express this. They want to get this off their chest. They want to tell their story, but they don't know who to tell it to.
That's what actually his words he said to me. He says, I want to get this off my chest, and I want to talk to you about it. I said, shoot, let's go.
And he's been carrying this for 15 years.
15, 20 years, yeah. So,
I mean, and that's another thing. 15, 20 years afterwards, again, he still remembers, these details. He still remembers.
Yeah, it's I don't remember if I asked him if he was dreaming about it, but I think it's just still on his mind. And he doesn't want to go back. He doesn't want to go out of East Texas anymore, so.
Yeah.
So, I want to go. I know that.
I want to go because I want to get rocks thrown at me.
Yeah, you might get it, so.
And I know you say, no, you don't. People that say that, no,
I say that about people I don't know.
Yeah. But I legit want to go out there, and
I know you, and I trust you. So
I want Bigfoot to throw a rock at me.
So I don't go to the woods just with anybody. Yeah. So, because
unless it's Justin Timberlake.
Dang it! I didn't cue. Sorry.
So yeah, it's very interesting to me that, like I said, this guy, he remembers these details. He carried this for 15 to 20 years before he told anybody, and the person that he told was pretty much a stranger.
Yeah, I mean, I talked to him maybe like 3 times a week because, like I said, we had a service agreement with him at USBC, and So he would just, I would talk to him like all the time. I say, hey man, I need some HVAC. Hey man, I need some plumbing. Hey man, I need electrical. So he'd send guys all the time. So I mean,
so have you recently had any conversations with him about this?
No, I've left USBC, and so I've left them and I went to another company. And so we have other vendors now that we use. So I don't really talk to him that much, but I did talk to him last Friday. So, and
okay.
He did give me permission to use his story. I can't use his name, and
gotcha.
I'm going to honor him on that. So,
yeah,
because he's a good dude, man. And but anyway, that's what I got on that one.
Okay, so when you say, I'm going to go back to just some of the details. He said growling and barking. What was it? Growling and grunting. I think is what you said. Growling and
grunting.
Now, I know I've heard audios of or so-called audios of
right.
Bigfoot,
right?
And none of the audios that I've heard had anything to do with growling or grunting.
There's some. I think Ron Moorhead. He's got a bunch of audios, and we're going to get into that in like a little bit here. He's got some stuff with some growling and grunting, but I don't think it's on the internet. But you got to purchase it.
Okay,
you got to purchase it.
Well, yeah, he wants money for it.
Yeah, and he's been doing it since like the 70s.
So because all the ones that I've ever heard, and again, this is just what I found on the internet, have been more like howling.
Mm-hmm.
Have been more like whoops, I guess you could say.
Yeah.
Like and it's, almost just like the song, whoop, whoop.
Yep.
It's almost just like that. And then howling, obviously we have the howl that we open the segment with.
Right.
Which is, I don't care if it's a Bigfoot or not, whatever it is, it's creepy.
Yeah.
Actually, I went back and I listened to like an elk call.
Mm-hmm.
And it sounds a lot like an elk call.
Yeah.
But where was this supposedly shot, the sound that you got?
We're gonna play it here in like a little bit, and we can go into details on that.
Okay.
Just a little
because
bit, so.
the one that we used for our opening segment.
I forgot. I think that was in Washington State.
Well, there's elk up there.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
If it's shot around somewhere where there's elk, I'm gonna say it's elk because it sounds.
Washington or Oregon, I can't remember though.
Well, there's elk both of those. So I'm gonna say that's an elk. But I don't care if it's an elk or not. It's still creepy.
Yeah.
Because it's just, if I'm in the middle of the woods and I hear that noise,
you're running. Yeah.
I'm running the other way.
Yeah.
So
Well, me and Ash will just stick around. And,
well, y'all stick around. Y'all give Bigfoot the soundboard. Let him have the SD card. Just bring it back.
Here's a camera. Do family photos.
Give him a GoPro.
Yes.
You know, strap a GoPro around him and
That would be brilliant.
let him do his thing.
yeah,
We
we
gotta
can,
catch him first.
Yeah.
he can endorse us.
Hey, that'd be the best endorsement anybody's ever gotten.
I said, hey, show us your nips.
Show us your N's and B's.
Can't say
So-
that to people.
I was saying it to Bigfoot.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're not saying that to our guests.
Yeah. So
That would be awful.
so you guys want to jump on the?
Yeah, if you got some of this audio, I would love to hear it.
Okay. I know we were talking before, and Ash, I don't know how much. I know you've been in the woods with Luke and stuff, and if you've actually have you caught like any howls or yells or yipes or while you were with Luke? I don't recall.
I don't know that we did.
I know that y'all said
Anything.
y'all heard a call whenever y'all were together.
Right. That was
Yeah, that was.
I mean, I've heard howls, yells, screams, whoops, whistles.
Anything that even remotely resembles communication.
Right.
You know,
So I've heard, like I said, I've heard whistles, yipes, whoops, grunts, screams, tree knocks, stone knocks, where they're
not. I remember you tell a story where they were
Yeah.
knocking on stones.
So I've heard all that stuff, and I've heard grunts, and I've heard that it could be it could be a deer. I mean, it could be lots of stuff. So
You know, and I was just thinking too. Whales, they moan like that.
yeah,
It's like a real, like a moan, a squeal, or a squeak.
So I wanted to play this. This is off the BFRO.net, and I don't really like to push them, but they have the most extensive sighting report,
Yeah.
broken down by counties and states and stuff.
So they
like
have
that.
the biggest library.
Yeah, they have the biggest. They're the biggest group in like all North
What is
America.
it? BFRO?
BFRO, Bigfoot Research Organization. So they've been around a long time, and I actually tried to join them in '99, but I don't have a PhD, so I couldn't join them. So.
Okay.
So this first one is from Ohio River, Columbia County, 1994, and this was recorded by Matt Moneymaker. So here it goes. So you're gonna hear some dogs in the background too. So should be coming up. All right, here it goes. Any thoughts on that?
Yeah, it sounds like a siren. It sounds like a siren. And while it was going, I was counting it, and I was going 1 1,000, 2 1,000, 3 1,000, and every 3 1,000 it would go.
Yeah. I mean,
And it would stop, and then I would go 1 1,000, 2 1,000, 3 1,000.
so is this a pass or a hack?
I'm gonna call it a hack.
Ash?
Maybe we should call it a pass because we don't know
Yeah.
anything about it.
I mean, I would need a lot more details about the area and, to just kind of see because, sound travel is weird.
Yeah, it
You
does.
don't know how in proximity they are to a highway or things like that.
Right.
And, it could have been,
That's awesome.
I mean,
I don't know the area. So.
I mean, I know every Wednesday we get a tornado warning.
Yeah.
The siren goes off, and that's exactly what it sounds
What
like.
it sounds like, yeah.
Sounds exactly like that.
I don't know a lot about it, but that was probably the best one I could find. Because there's so many out there, and it's like so distorted because you can hear like the people talking over it, and it's like so, really low audio quality. So this was the best one I could find.
It's definitely good audio quality.
Yeah.
It's definitely, you can definitely hear it. But I'm going to say it's definitely a siren.
Yeah. So this next one is from Ron Moorhead. And Ron Moorhead has the Sierra Sounds. So anybody that does Bigfoot stuff knows the Sierra Sounds, Bigfoot recordings, CDs. So this guy was doing CDs like back then, and he's got tons of volumes. And I remember coming up as a Bigfoot researcher that I would listen to all this stuff, whatever I could. And I think, I can't remember who had it in the group. Someone had a CD, so I borrowed it and I just listened to it all and stuff. And so this next clip is going to be whoops and tree knocks. So here we go. I think that plays for a while, but I'm just going to go ahead and cut it off. But it doesn't say where that one was at, but this one was on In Search Of. And that's like going back a little bit. Al Berry and Ron Moorhead, 1974.
Were these supposedly shot at the same time? Because it sounds like the knocks and the whoops are on two different.
I think it was edited that way so you can grasp it.
Because I was going to say it doesn't. The whoops and the knock don't line up with each other, and it sounds like two different recorders.
I'm thinking this was in Sierra Mountains, California, because it's called Sierra Sounds. So I'm just going to assume it's the Sierra Mountains of California. So that was I've heard that stuff. I've heard tree knocks. When I just decided to do tree knocks in areas of the woods that I don't tell anybody where I'm going. I just do it, and I get it back sometimes. So.
To me, the whoop whoops, they sound like a human whooping.
It sounds like a howler monkey to me. So
yeah,
that's me, and I don't know.
But I just, because if this big, giant, huge, and maybe he does have a high pitched voice or a high pitched sound, I would think that this is gonna make like a big dog, like woo, woo, with some oomph behind it. Not this little whoop, whoop. Maybe it's a baby.
I want to make a correction. It wasn't Sierra Colorado. It's Sierra Nevada.
Okay.
Sierra Nevada.
So maybe this is a baby Bigfoot whooping.
Yeah.
I even a baby is. I don't know. Ash, you got anything?
I think things that we know about even make noises we wouldn't expect, like like foxes and things like that,
Mm-hmm.
And
barn owls.
Definitely barn owls, man.
Barn owls will scare the dookie out of you.
They're silent.
I've heard tons of those, man.
Yeah, they do sound like.
So,
and again, if you're in an area where it's quiet, you're sitting there, and all of a sudden you hear these barn owls go off, it's going to scare you. But if you start hearing whoop, whoop, now, see, there's so much that goes into it. Were they carrying these recorders? Were these recorders planted? Were they there when this happened?
That I don't know.
Yeah,
I mean, you have to go to. I mean, because I've tried to click on his website, and you gotta
subscribe.
You gotta subscribe, put a credit card and stuff. And back in the day, I don't think he was really into it that much, and you could listen to it. But now you click on it and it won't let you go any further than that. But these next couple audios I wanted to play there's also from Ron Moorhead, and these are from Sierra Nevada as well. And I wanted to tell a really, really quick story, because I know before in the pilot episode and question session, I talked about going up to the Kiamichi Mountains, and I had a buddy of mine who bought some land out in the Kiamichi Mountains, and another friend of ours had a cabin there, so we would go visit his cabin and plot out my other friend's land so he can build a cabin. And so to get on this property, you have to go past a security gate, and it's pretty rural. It's got dirt roads, and there was maybe 4 cabins, and my friend's cabin was on the far end of this plotted part of the mountain, and it's a mountain, but it's like a big hill. But anyway, Kiamichi Mountains. So we go down this road and we pass all the cabins and we could see that people are not there. Like there's no ATVs, there's no vehicles, there's no fire going. So we were alone. I said we pull in to my friend's cabin and we started unloading and we just thought, okay, we're here this weekend at the mountain by ourselves. And so I heard like in the distance and there the very next plot of land, the next cabin, sounded like two people talking. And so I couldn't tell what they were saying. It was just like gibberish or something. I don't know if they were upset or they were like yelling at each other, but you could hear it, but not clear. And so I turned to my friend. I said, hey, your neighbors are here. So he says, okay, let's go in and say hi. So we walk down the road and we can hear this gibberish and like talking going. And as we're getting closer to the cabin, it stops. And so we look, I said, what the hell?
As you get close to the neighbor's cabin?
Yeah. Get closer to his cabin, this gibberish talking stops, and so we see there's nobody there. So we wait a little bit. So we start walking back down the road again, back to, and it picks up again, and it sounds like this audio I'm about to play. And when I first heard this audio, this was years ago, I kind of doubted it. I said, I don't know about this. But when I experienced this was like, I don't know, like 2005, 2006, and it kind of hit home with me. I said, man, this makes sense now. So I don't know if it was Bigfoot. I don't know if it was something else. So I'm just going to play it, and we can talk about it afterwards. So here we go. So that was the first track. And this is the second one. And I think this is Ron Moorhead trying to communicate back with his Bigfoot. So that's just, from what I read.
Right there, I just seen movement right through there.
So, and that's what I kind of heard in the cabin that was right down the road from us. And so it was real distant. It was kind of faint, but I could hear it like it was some kind of language, but I couldn't pick up what they were saying. Like it was like, like a foreign language, but you can't really tell what it was.
Like in that audio, it sounded like just one.
Yeah.
You were saying that you heard one, or you heard two of them going?
No, it was the second one was Ron Moorhead trying to speak back to.
No, I know that, but I'm saying in your incidents.
Oh yeah.
It was
two.
Yeah,
it was two.
I know in Moorhead's he was trying to mimic what this thing was doing and talk to him, but that was only one of them. In yours,
it was two.
You said you heard two.
Yeah,
two distinct.
So I was kind of freaked out by that because I do remember hearing this. I said, I don't know, man. It could be someone just in the woods, or he could be like his guys just planning that stuff. So, or just like planning, just acting it out to make it seem like it was a Bigfoot. And so when I actually heard it in the field, I said, man, it kind of hit home with me a little bit. But that's just me. So, any thoughts on that?
I just think it sounds human.
Yeah.
It sounds human.
Yeah, it does.
To me.
Yeah.
And I just don't picture Bigfoot sounding human.
Yeah.
I mean, he's supposed to be this big, massive.
Right.
And again, it could be baby. It could be infant. Maybe that's an infant. You know, I have 4 kids, and before they could talk, they made a lot of noises. And it doesn't sound like me. My son obviously doesn't sound like me when he talks because he hasn't developed his man voice yet, I guess.
Right.
So again, I can put that hat on and say, well, maybe this is but again, if you want to talk about it being an infant, well, the reacting to this sounds like a mature voice. It sounds like a mature a creature or whatever it is. To me, it sounds human.
Right.
Putting out these vocals, these noises. So I don't know. It all sounds human to me, and that's not what I picture Bigfoot sound like. But I don't know anything about Bigfoot. So.
Ash.
Right. Well, like I brought up earlier about how they like to mimic other sounds and whatever. That's a possibility to that. And they're around people a lot.
Yeah.
You hear people talking. And it seems to me that a lot of times they're smart. So they're very curious, and maybe they were trying to communicate
That's a
the
good
way
point.
that we, because let's use like cats for example. If you only have one cat, it chatters at you a lot. Single cats tend to be more vocal because that's how they see people communicating with each other.
Yeah.
And so
Makes sense.
theoretically, maybe that's a possibility.
There was a theory. I can't remember who was telling me this, but somebody in the field was telling me that they had thought, because like Bigfoots always try to be quiet and try to go through an area like stealth wise, unless they're threatened. And so somebody had told me this. I can't remember who it was for the life of me, but someone had given me this theory about the ones that talk like this, that they had thought that it was a juvenile that broke away from the main group, and he was trying to be on his own and didn't know how to do it.
Yeah.
So that was a theory. I said,
So where do they get that?
huh?
Where do they get that? Do they just pull this out of the?
Yeah, they're better.
That's a juvenile that broke. Come on. Now.
There's people that actually, if like the rumor is that if a Bigfoot shows itself and there's no food or water around, he's trying to entice you to look at him while. And I've heard instances like
ambush.
this. Well, no, that he shows you so a family can get away, and I can't remember where I read that at. I think it was John Betternickel's book that they'll come to you and try to get you to see them, and while behind you the family's moving. So when someone I guess they do all these eyewitness reports, they see this Bigfoot's not so big, but it's not so small. He's like thin, limber. Not so big, and he's kind of starving. I don't know. And people say, hey, it was a Bigfoot. Was it like 400 pounds? No, it was like 300 pounds. So they kind of equate it to be a slender Bigfoot. So I'm assuming they say it's juvenile. So I don't know.
I don't know. And again, like I said, me walking through the woods, I can step on something and it's going to go and it's going to make all kinds of noise. Mm-hmm. Now, they obviously live in the woods, and I know people can creep in the woods and stuff like that, but man, that size, that much force.
Yeah.
And I know you've shared sometimes that if they want to come after you, it's going to sound like a train getting to you, but then it was an armadillo that came at you.
Yeah.
So I don't know how these creatures that are supposed to be so big, and again, you said they move swiftly. They're very agile. And if there's multiples, how are they moving around out there and nobody knows they're there? I mean, nobody's seen them. People have seen them, but it's not enough to. I don't know.
There's tons of people that see them, and there's tons of people that see them and don't want to say anything about it.
Yeah.
So, that's what at the time when I was in the TBRC, I tried to be their voice. I tried to be their,
and that's what you're trying to do right now.
Yeah, their channel and their
venue. And I know that and that's why I'm open to the idea of it being out there, because I know that when I talk about my paranormal stuff, there's people on the other side of the mic that are like, why does this guy believe this? This is stupid. If they're out there, da 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 da.
Right.
They're saying the same things that I'm saying about Bigfoot. They're just saying about paranormal.
Paranormal, yeah.
So, and I know that there's skeptics, there's believers, there's all that. I just know that the paranormal is real because I've experienced it in real life.
Real time.
So, that's why I'm so open to, I just have to experience it myself, and hopefully when we go to Hawesville.
Me too, man.
Yeah.
Hopefully when we go to Hawesville, we get a taste of that.
So, I don't know.
Ashley? Kind of going back to like how it moves and stuff. There's another theory is like comparing them to elephants and how an elephant's foot is set up where it's got a fatty deposit in the bottom and it helps distribute its weight.
Right.
And because of that, they don't leave deep tracks, and they can walk through a heavily forested area, and you never know they were there,
Right.
Because of the way their weight distributes. And there is theory, that maybe that's what theirs are like.
The Bigfoots, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, and you also said something last week that really stuck with me is that the ankle bone was more like in the middle of the foot
Yeah.
than like at the back of the foot.
Right.
And that's why it kind of walks more up on its.
I mean, I could be wrong. I remember reading it. I think I was reading it in John Bennernigel's book, and I don't. Life of me, I don't know the name of it. I'm sorry.
You're gonna have to make another correction.
I know. but
I mean, there's and again, I don't want to knock on anybody's research because I know people like yourself have spent hours upon hours and years upon years researching this, and I have not spent 1 second of my life in the woods trying to find Bigfoot.
Right. I mean, I've been in like seven different states, and
Well, you uprooted your life at one point to hunt this thing down.
I uprooted my life and I moved to another state to do it. And I've walked counties and knocked on doors. This was before, DSL and the internet was fast. So I would walk around with flyers and business cards and walk and knock on doors and say, hey, if I knew it was a Bigfoot area, and I'd walk down like this dirt road and go to people's doors and knock. I got shot at once.
I was gonna ask.
I got shot.
Dangerous.
Yeah. I got shot at once, and I said, okay, I'm leaving this county.
Man, because where you're talking about these Bigfoot, they're backwoods folk.
Yeah,
and backwoods folk, they shoot you before they ask questions.
Yep. And so I've gone and knocked on doors and talked to people. I've gone into bait shops. I've gone to boat ramps. I've gone to state parks and just talking to people and just walking up. Hey man, you know anything about Bigfoot? And they look at you kind of funny. What the hell? Screw you, man.
I'm sure you got a bunch of.
I got a lot of stuff like that. I got people
get
cursing
away
at
from
me.
me.
Yeah, people cursing at me and stuff. So
Yeah.
it didn't bug me. So I mean, I thought it was fun. So
Well, that's the thing is, that again is why I hold you, because no matter what anybody throws at you, you're like, no, this is what I believe.
yeah,
No matter, you don't have to defend it
No.
because you lived it, and this is your beliefs.
it's my life. I love some Poland. So
that's another thing that, I mean, leaves me open to the possibility of this. Maybe not Bigfoot, but something else out there. Because you're just like, no, I don't care what you say. I don't care what you do. I don't care who you are. You're
as
not.
long as you love me.
As long as.
Ash, you got anything to add on that? Other than that?
That's awesome. Was that an NSYNC song?
No, it's Backstreet Boys.
Oh, I don't know. Okay.
She likes the
I was like, is that another Justin Timberlake? But that's
Okay.
The other.
that's Bass Boy.
No, he was in sync too.
Oh my gosh, I don't know my boy bands. I'm sorry.
What happened? How'd we get here?
I know.
No.
Go.
I kind of feel like that's where I'm at, is that I don't really care about anyone else's experiences, or I mean, it's interesting, and I like I guess maybe, local folklore or whatever, the stories, the idea of it is more interesting, but then again, I don't necessarily, I'm going to believe everybody. And I'm more interested in finding out what's happening and why, not to necessarily disprove or to prove, just to know what's happening and why.
Yeah.
Because, like I said earlier, there's lots of animals that we know that they're finding new stuff about them and their behavior and their, the sounds that they make and where they travel and just, all the time, things like that.
Yeah. I'm with you on that, because I think on stuff like that, I mean, I've talked to so many people, and you kind of, I mean, I don't know. I mean, I kind of got into it to figure out if there was a Bigfoot, and then after halfway through it, I decided to help people. And after you talk to so many people, I mean, I'm telling you, I've talked to a lot of people. I've talked to so many people that I actually lost my voice on a weekend, and so. You kind of get into, you got to go on body language and how people talk and you kind of figure out. I say, okay, this guy's in it. He's in it, just to tell a story. Or this person actually saw something and they're afraid and they don't know how to deal with it.
But yeah, that goes back to your buddy. Is like, I'm not going back out there.
Yeah.
I don't care. I don't care what I have. I don't care how many weapons I have. I don't care. I'm not going back out there.
Yeah.
Now, for somebody to be that, hey, I'm gonna say, okay, I'm not gonna say you saw Bigfoot, but you definitely saw something that scared the crap out of
Yeah.
you.
You think you
Right.
You believe you saw Bigfoot.
Yeah. Your mind is telling you saw something you're not supposed to see.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And you don't want to go back there to experience that again.
Yeah.
15 to 20 years later.
Yep.
So, yeah, you could. I mean, that's just like, where y'all are at is like, I know I've experienced it. And again, that's exactly how I am with the paranormal.
Yeah.
There's nobody, I don't care who, unless it's Jesus Christ sits down in front of me and says it's fake.
Yeah.
Nobody on this planet is going to sit down in front of me and tell me that what I experienced was fake.
Right.
So I get that. And because I get that, I don't want to knock on anybody's experiences. I don't want to knock on anybody's investigating their research. I know that yes, there are some hacks out there that do it just for the money because they know there's money in it.
Right.
But that's in any genre, any field, anything you look at. There's how many of them are in the paranormal field that do it just for the money.
Right.
And so I don't want to knock on anybody's experience, anybody's research, anybody's the time and the effort that they put into this. I don't want to make a joke out of it because to them it's not a joke, and I respect that. So I just need to see it for myself.
Yeah, I do too.
I just need to experience it for myself.
Because I think whenever I was with the TBRC, I used to try to jump on every sighting report that came in, and Craig Woolheater, he was one of these guys that said, "Oh, we don't need to do that one. You don't need to do that one
because there's nothing in it."
Well, if you get a sighting report and it's in a western part of the county of Texas, most likely it's probably not a Bigfoot because it's like there's if you put up a satellite of West Texas, there's not a lot of vegetation. And there's some, but just not a whole lot.
But investigating that, can't you figure out what not a Bigfoot does? Or what the information that this is not a Bigfoot?
Right.
And go help those people and say, hey.
I mean, I would do it. I would do it.
That's where the help comes in. These people are scared.
Yeah.
They want to know that they don't have a Bigfoot. Well, then you go over there and say, hey, Bigfoot don't live in deserts.
Right.
You know?
So I would get all these sighting reports and I would go do them. And like I say, I'm taking it, I'm running with it. And so you put up a satellite of like this area and you say, probably not a Bigfoot, but I'm going to go check it out anyway. So I would go do it, and he would give me crap about it. He goes, why you didn't go do it? And I said, well, we're here to help people. So I would just do it regardless whether I thought, a Bigfoot could be there or not. I just wanted to go help the people. So that's what I was about.
And who knows? Bigfoot might be a comedian and pulling an Oklahoma shuffle on you.
Yeah.
And going out there in the desert and hiding, Who knows?
He's on a pilgrimage.
Yeah.
Find himself.
Yeah. So I mean, I always thought if Bigfoot went out that far, then you would have multiple sighting reports.
Oh, you'd have to because he's wide open.
It's wide open spaces.
Wide open. Wide open spaces.
That's the Dixie Chick.
Rooms make a big mistake.
So, you guys want to jump subjects?
I'm here for the.
Okay.
I'm just here so I don't get fined.
Okay. So I want to do one more shout out, and then I'm going to be done with shots tonight. This is for Ebes at work.
Okay.
That's for Ebes at work. She's a big Dallas Stars fan, and so am I. I'm a big Dallas Stars fan. So
yeah.
Anyway, so
they got routed last night though.
Yeah, they did. So the next subject is the paranormal. I love doing that. I don't know if you guys noticed that. Sorry.
The paranormal.
So I kind of wanted on this one. I kind of wanted to talk, and it's open to any of you guys want to talk about anything, but we don't have to talk about whatever we want. We could go off and
We don't have to talk about whatever we want. Or are we talking about?
we're talking about Kenny Ortega.
Kenny Ortega.
No.
a baseball player.
What I kind of want to talk about was how to do an investigation. So I just wanted to get y'all's thoughts on something because I wanted to talk a little bit about it. So when I was with Penn, Texas, and Ash, because you were with the group too, so you chime in whenever you're ready.
Okay.
Whenever I was with Penn, Texas, I was a director. We had a website. We used to get incident reports on the website. So I was the case director. So a lot of times whenever we had an incident where someone needed help, if there was a child involved, we would jump up. Like that would be priority, to me. And so we would go and check out the claim, go interview them. And with their permission, we would do the release of liability and all that stuff. And so we'd ask them if they wanted to post it on the website. If not, we would just keep it to ourselves. And whatever we found, we would help them cope with it or try to deal with it in whatever denomination they were with. So, but one of the very first things we used to do was when we would get permission from the owner, we would go to the records and try to pull up whatever land documents, and you could do that by the lot and stuff like that. So I just wanted to see y'all's guys' point of view on that.
Yeah, there's kind of a layout that I think you have to follow to be real with the individual that's bringing this to the attention.
Right.
And I think if you don't cover these areas, you're not doing the part or a thorough enough job to help this client sufficiently enough. One is the claim. Obviously, you get the claim in. They claim that they saw this. Okay, you already kind of mentioned if it's a kid involved, boom, you're on it.
Right.
However, I'm all for that. Obviously, kids, man, they're so susceptible to.
Yeah.
And I've got a story that I will share. Maybe not tonight, and I've shared it with you before.
Right.
I jumped out of a house the next day because this happened.
Yeah.
And I got chills right now because it was so intense.
Yeah.
But when children are involved, you got to do whatever and do it quick.
Right.
But after the claim, the information about the location, and you cover that as well. You go to the public records. You get whatever information you can get about this location. The owners, who's owned it, who's owned the land under the house.
How was it built?
How was it built? When was it built? What was the land used for?
The deeds.
Thank you. I couldn't think of the words. The deeds. Whose deeds? Whose names were on it? All that good stuff. Yeah. If there's been any incidences in the house or on the land.
Ownership,
all that. There's so much that goes into it. The history. Was anybody murdered? Was anybody abused?
Yeah, but you can get all if someone was murdered through the library.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. You can straight through the public because
you can go to
the individuals. The individuals that live here might not know all that stuff.
Right.
And that is a lot of stuff that could help these individuals know about this situation. And then you interview the client. You don't share your information that you've gained just yet. You let them do the talking before you share everything. You let them tell you everything that's gone on. Equipment. Obviously, right. You want the best equipment
right.
That you can have. And then overview. You sit down and you go into everything that you're after your investigation, after you've done what you do, you overview with your investigators, and then you bring to the table to the client, this is what we found, this is what we know, boom, 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 boom.
Ash, you got anything on that? No. I mean, how did you guys handle that?
More or less, that's how we do. We didn't really ever investigate homes a lot again, unless
Right.
somebody felt threatened or there was children involved. We kind of tried to do that, but that was back when all those shows and everything were first really getting popular.
Taps.
Yeah, we got a lot of cases from them because they're busy.
Right.
But more often than not, when it came to homeowners during that period of time, it seemed like it was more about that sort of thing, But we did a lot of historic buildings, like in downtown Tyler or Henderson. There's an old opera, things like that have a really long history and might not be too hard to find out.
Right.
Also, and it just seemed more. I don't necessarily want to say easy not to get involved with people in houses and stuff and family, because you still have to deal with a client at the end of the day, and that's a moneymaker too for businesses, and you got to watch for that a lot. And there were several that we encountered that's like, well, maybe that's going on, but we don't have anything about it, and they weren't very happy about that because that's a quick way to make a buck. And I tend to not believe people that are trying to make money on tourism.
Yeah. I think that's the number one turnoff in paranormal for me, is people trying to use the paranormal or the afterlife or whatever to make money. Now, I know that there's movies about it and all that stuff, and that's entertainment. But I'm talking about trying to make a buck off of somebody's personal experiences. I don't like that.
I don't either. That's one reason why I like debunking or anything like that, or to call people out that maybe not by name, but by this is not what you do. Because I don't like people getting taken advantage of, and a lot of times, especially like with ghosts and stuff, I've had people come up to me with pictures of what they think is like an orb, and they've lost their child or some family member, someone they're close with. It's like they want to know, but I can't lie to them. And so there's been a lot of people that myself and some of my friends have made very unhappy, but it's like, I'm sorry, I'm not telling you what you want to hear, but that's doing you a disservice that this person over here that looks at this dust or this lens flare and said, "Oh yeah, that's your dead son. He's with you always." Are you kidding me? That's horrible. That's disgusting.
It is.
That's projection, and I hate that too.
Well, we're not here to tell you what you want to hear. We're here to tell you what you need to hear, and we're here to tell you as much as we can. But now, if it ever comes down to it, and we think it might be your dead son, I still wouldn't go on the edge of saying, "Hey, this is your dead son," because there's no way to truly identify that.
Right.
You can't truly identify that this is somebody's dead son coming back to see them. There's no way.
Yeah, I've always been against that. I've been against projection, paying, asking for a fee. If you're asking for a fee to do paranormal stuff, then
you shouldn't be doing it.
The client needs to run.
Exactly.
Run away and don't come back. Because like I know when I was with Penn, Texas, we probably, I want to say 80% of our investigations were homes, and it was like with kids in it. I mean, we did the Lawrence Hotel in downtown Dallas. It's now called La Quinta Suites in Dallas. It's like right next to WFAA Tower and the Channel 8 News and stuff. And so we did a couple places. I think I did a couple places with them, but everything was like 80%. It was probably all just someone's home, and we just had to go in and just try to figure stuff out. What was going. What type of equipment? I mean, I don't know if you guys use a lot of equipment. I know
I don't have the money to use a lot of equipment.
in the past
we improvised a lot.
Yeah.
When we were doing this was like 2005 through I want to say 2008, and we had a lot of pawn shop VCRs.
Yeah.
And cameras and just like the little cheap security cameras and a few infrared lights or whatever, piece at a time. Who knows? I wonder where some of my stuff went. I think maybe
The pawn shop?
no. I think it's somewhere in a closet at Michelle's house. But yeah, it's expensive. So we didn't ever really have, like a FLIR camera or anything like that does heat sensitive or, expensive K2 meters and things like that. It was just basically like nickel and diamond, buying stuff at the hardware store, things like that.
I'm talking the old RCA handheld voice recorder with the little mini tape in it.
I because right now I carry with me all the time. I carry a K2 meter. I carry a digital camera. I mean, not digital, but a digital voice recorder with me all the time, wherever I go. That's just how I am. But I think for the client, I think it's always whatever, because I'm not a big camera guy, because we had a camera guy that just did all that, and I didn't really worry about it. So I wish I was, a camera guy. I knew a little bit more about cameras, but I think the more equipment that you have, the better for the client.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So I think all kinds of raw data that you can have providing for the client to help them find out what's actually going on. Because I've been in some homes and someone had some fluorescent lighting and they said the light keeps flickering. I said, well, it's got a ballast in it. So and that could solve your problem.
They flicker all the time.
Because they last like 10, 15 years and if you look inside of it, if it's a brick, it's an old ballast. It's going to probably flicker the lights, and so I would get that a lot. But you try to want to make the client feel comfort in their own home and stuff like that. But at least provide them some kind of information and debunking, and because we always talk about debunking all the time.
Because the more equipment you have, the more cameras, the more recorders, the more meters. The more of that stuff in different places. Because you can be right here in this place and have a recorder, and you can hear something that you think goes on up here, and you think, oh man, that's a ghost beating on the floor. Yeah. And you only have the camera view of that room and the audio of that room. But if you have a camera and an audio in the room where you think you heard that, well, then you can go cross-reference that camera and that audio, and it might be a cat hit something, fell off the, hit the floor.
Yeah.
Right.
But you would never know that unless you had the camera and the audio in that other room. So, absolutely, the more equipment, the better.
Right.
It's so expensive.
It is.
We had a lot of, instead of that, just you go in that room and here's a walkie-talkie.
Exactly.
And you tell me if you see anything over here doing this. If not, then okay, it's something weird.
Or if you hear something, you get on your walkie-talkie. Yeah. Hey, did you hear that? What's going on?
Stop. Is there anyone up here? Is there anyone? Yeah, there are a lot of that. It's like.
Yeah, and then you go back because everybody's got at least a recorder, and then you go back and you go through and you rewind it, and you're going, oh, okay, right there, stop, and then you got to find it on both recorders. So, but digital recorders are much easier. Yeah, they are. Obviously, you can plug it in and go right to.
Yeah, I'll be the first to admit this. I'm horrible at going over evidence.
It's so boring.
It is,
especially when you're like they want it within the next week, and you were out and there, until
I'm at work.
Who knows how early in the morning, and then you have a regular day job. It's like,
I did want to do another shout out.
You lied?
No. This not a song. It's for Matthew Washburn. He runs Dirty South Paranormal, and since I took over Penn Texas Facebook group, and I want to say hi to all the people and Penn Texas Facebook group. If you're downloaded this, thank you so much. Matt is a guy. He's with Dirty South Paranormal, and I've actually given him a lot of cases since I've taken over, because when people join the group, they reach out to me right away and say, hey, I got this going on. I don't know what to do. I'm seeing mist. I'm seeing shadows. So I usually send it over to Matt, and Matt's a pretty good guy about jumping on stuff. I think he did an investigation yesterday, and the best way to get in contact with Matt is through the Facebook group. So he actually has a Facebook group, Dirty South Paranormal. So if you need help and you want to reach out to him, you could do it through the Facebook group and just instant message him, and he'll reach out back to you, because he's usually responding like whenever I send him something that night, he's on it the next morning. So he's a really, really good guy, and I really appreciate him. Thanks, Matt.
Thanks, Matt.
So, anyway, So we were talking equipment, and then because I know we all of us agreed that we don't like projection. We don't like, asking client for money for stuff, because the stuff that we provide, it should be free. That's just the way how I see it. So overview, and when that encompasses projection and not paying having the client pay us and stuff for duties and stuff. So
it always feels like that in $1 million funeral homes, but people get preyed on when they are afraid or in mourning very easily. And unfortunately, it feels like this field or subject matter or whatever is, of course, where people that like to prey on those seek out.
A bunch of hacks. So we're a minute and 25 in.
A minute and
That's
25?
all?
I'm sorry, an hour.
I was like, that was
Wow,
the
time
longest
is weird.
minute and 25 seconds
about
of my
this.
life.
Sorry.
Time is an
Sorry.
illusion.
1 hour and 25 minutes. I'm sorry.
All right.
Okay.
A minute and 25 in.
So you guys want to jump, because we only got 35 minutes to talk about wrestling or I don't know. I don't care. Whatever you guys want to.
No, we can. I'm gonna set up for the next show because my aunt got back to me with some information.
So we can tease that for the next show.
Yeah, I'm gonna tease that for the next show. If you want to hear my aunt's explanation of her experiences
in a minute and 25 seconds.
In a minute and 25 seconds.
Sorry, Ken.
Tune in next time. It's some good stuff. I didn't get a chance to interview her face to face. She did reach out to me via text message,
right?
And she gave me some pretty good information we can go off of. And with this information, we can kind of go more into. And in that show, I think I will.
That's good. That's good stuff.
But I think I'll tell my story.
But next show
in that episode.
Okay, that's good. I mean, that's a good teaser too. So
yeah.
Did you have a fun fact on paranormal?
I did have a fun fact on paranormal. Supernatural star Jared Padalecki.
Oh no! This all makes me so sad. I'm sorry.
I don't know if I said the name right. Padalecki.
That's your deal. That's
my stitch.
Yeah.
So,
sorry. Go ahead.
Arrested for assault and public intoxication. Now, I don't know much about this guy, but apparently y'all do, and apparently y'all like him.
Yeah.
I was reading about it earlier, and it just definitely seems really out of character.
Yeah, it does. It was reported on TMZ.
TMZ,
several People magazine, and
but this one's on comicbook.com. It says, as one of the stars of the CW Supernatural, Jared Padalecki has faced off against all kinds of demons, magical beings. I think that's just okay. Yes. Here, TMZ. Padalecki was arrested in Austin, Texas, on early Sunday morning outside of a club called Stereotype. The fan favorite actor reportedly faces 2 counts of assault and 1 count of public intoxication. According to eyewitnesses, Padalecki reportedly struck a bartender in the face while inside the venue, as well as potentially hitting the general manager after getting into an argument with him. A friend took him outside in an attempt to calm him down, which ultimately led to Padalecki putting the man in a headlock shortly before authorities arrived. TMZ has several video clips of Padalecki during the ordeal, including one of the aforementioned headlock. Later on in the video, Padalecki appears to pull out a wad of money, allegedly flashing it to the officers that are trying to subdue him.
My only question was, where was Castillo and where was Dean?
Well, the problem is that in reality we have Misha, and he's a sweetheart, and he's probably not in Austin.
Yeah.
But it sounds like someone might have got a little overserved.
Yeah.
Apparently this guy's
he's tall. He's
a big dude.
Like, I don't know, 6'5", 6'6". Big dude, man.
So he's a big dude.
I wouldn't mess with him.
And he's going around knocking people in the face.
Yeah. Damn. Probably didn't give him his umbrella and his drink or something.
No. I don't know. course, not that I personally know him, but I feel like I do because we've been do this dirty for 15 years.
Yeah, I watch the show every week, so
That's a long
I don't
journey.
know. He just seems like, and I've always heard that he's a really nice person. So
Yeah.
there's no telling what led up to it, and you can't trust tabloids. You know.
yeah.
I'm trying to see if they have his mugshot on here. That'd be kind of cool to see.
Yeah, that would be cool.
It just makes me sad.
His big chrome to the dome.
I'm gonna be like, "What's wrong, man?
Big chrome to
what
the dome."
happened? Don't make fun of his 5 head at this moment. You know,
I want to see this chrome.
He needs like 6 pillows.
it's beautiful.
He needs like 6 pillows.
So, I guess we could jump subject real quick.
Man, you're just jumping.
Yeah, I'm jumping. So,
It doesn't have a.
it doesn't have anything?
It doesn't have a mugshot,
Yeah.
but it's got a picture of his big old noggin.
Aw.
Here we go. We're going to talk about wrestling.
Wrestling.
So,
Talk about wrestling.
so do you have any fun facts from wrestling?
I do.
Sweet. Too sweet.
Too sweet. Too sweet. So, breaking news. Hulk Hogan and Eric Bischoff signed with TNA Wrestling October 27th, 2009.
TNA.
Yep. In a very weird story, this is from BleacherReport.com. In a very weird story, it was just announced by TNA that they signed WWE Hall of Famer Hulk Hogan today. There's a teaser video out online already for his TNA debut, which could be as soon as next week. So, there you go.
Awesome.
That's my fun fact for October 27th, 2009. And obviously Hulk Hogan is one of the biggest names in wrestling history. Whether it doesn't matter what promotion you talk about wrestling, if anybody's a wrestling fan, they know Hulk Hogan. And Eric Bischoff, I know we kind of teased Eric Bischoff. We can do a whole story on how he was the demise of WCW.
Oh Lord.
So,
Yeah,
but
it was.
they're two of the biggest names in wrestling. So, but they were signed by TNA on October 27th, 2000.
On this day.
On this day. So,
I was noticing that I followed Dave Batista on Twitter, and he was at the last AEW show.
Yeah.
He took a picture with Jack Swagger or Jack Hager and Ortiz and Sanchez, and they were like in the. I guess he was in the crowd, and they went out and they took a picture. I thought it was kind of cool.
that's cool.
Yeah.
I thought I said, I don't think he's gonna join.
I don't think he's going to join, but
Yeah.
for him to make an appearance there.
It was
is pretty cool.
it was tweeted by Santana, proud and powerful.
Yeah.
So he's one of the, LAX when they're with Impact.
Yeah.
So I thought it was cool. So
I want to jump into something that we were looking at. And it's a tweet by somebody that our fun fact was about last time. Big Sexy
yeah, we were talking about that earlier in the week, right?
Nash. Yeah, he tweeted. So AW Cody Rhodes is having a match, and Jericho and his goons are up in the box, and they're drinking champagne, and Jericho has a mic, and I hope I'm getting this story right. I think Cody's the one that started it.
Yeah,
started the noise.
He was being interviewed on the ring.
That's right. He was being interviewed. He wasn't in a match. He was being interviewed.
He had some
That's
news
right.
coming out. And
Yeah. So he's being interviewed, and he calls out Jericho. Right?
Yep.
He calls out Jericho, and Jericho, they're going back at it, and he says something about, I'm not gonna let the robes from another organization. I can't remember exactly how
He said we don't work for the old organization. There's not an invisible line
Yes,
that's
there you
stopping
go.
me from going up there and kicking your ass.
Yeah. Yeah. So basically, you know who that's a shot at.
Yeah.
Obviously, he's taking his shots.
WWE.
Yeah. So Jericho tells him, "Come on, and kind of leaves and goes out into this glassed area, or inside this little ring with this glass area. And my favorite wrestler in the whole world is with him with his scarf. Anyway, he's not my favorite. MJF
yeah.
is with Cody, and they go up, and Cody takes MJF's scarf and he knocks it, and they get into this big old fight. And everything.
Yeah.
What I wanted to hit on was what Big Sexy had to say about it.
Yeah.
And you have it pulled up over there?
I don't.
Okay. If you don't, again, we're going to have to... I wish I would have had this pulled up, because I don't really like...
Big Sexy?
No, I don't like ad-libbing.
So, I was watching AEW this past week, and it was... it was a good show. It was... Go ahead.
Go back to the Nash tweet.
Oh, the Nash tweet?
Yeah. I want to finish the story.
Okay.
He was saying something about if you are going to take a shot at WWE, don't have Jericho sitting up in the balcony with a microphone.
Right.
And
I didn't get that.
I didn't quite understand what he was going at. And I think we kind of came to the conclusion that maybe he's saying if you want to, I'm pulling up. He says, Cody Rhodes, if you're going to say you're not at WWE and the ropes don't stop you, make sure Jericho isn't in his box with the AEW mic. Couldn't spell work any clearer. It's the details. I ran through the DVR to see Chris's segment. Not a great first impression on detailed thought. So when he's saying don't have Jericho sitting up there with the AEW mic.
Right.
He said couldn't spell work any clearer. So what he's saying is you're talking that WWE staged all this stuff and they had all these stupid scripts and stuff like this about people going into the stands and all this.
Yeah.
That's the only thing I can think of is when he's saying this.
Yeah.
Is hey, if you're gonna call out WWE for doing these stupid little skits and stuff, don't say that you're not being WWE when you actually are being WWE and doing the same thing.
What I don't get is that they're working a match. I mean they're doing a setup for their pay-per-view because that's going to be the main event at their pay-per-view. Full Gear, and I don't get it. I said, well, they're not supposed to work the match.
Yeah,
they're not supposed to work.
But
the promos.
I think what Nash had a problem with is you're calling out another organization for doing it and trying to say that that's stupid, but then you're doing it yourself.
That's dumb.
I don't know. I think it's kind of don't call out another organization if you're doing the same thing they're doing.
Right. What I was reading on here also that because like in WWE there's a storyline with Bobby Lashley sleeping with Lana, Rusev's wife.
Come on.
Do you remember us talking about that? So I was reading this right now. Bobby Lashley is saying he's getting death threats because of that storyline. He's getting death threats.
I wouldn't doubt it.
Absolutely. I don't at all because people know no bounds when it comes to shit like that.
Because people, yes, it's fake, but people probably legitimately think it's real. It's a fake storyline. I don't like it when they go off and do stuff like that.
Yeah.
I hate those kind of storylines where you're just reaching so far to try to build these characters. Because here's the thing, Lana sucks at wrestling.
Yeah.
She is not a good wrestler in ring.
No.
She's just a really pretty woman that is married to Rusev.
She's a hottie.
Yes, but they're trying to get her TV time by throwing her in this stupid love triangle affair with Bobby Lashley. I don't think that's how somebody should be getting TV time just because of who you are.
Yeah, I think so too. I mean, it's not the Attitude Era anymore. You can't.
No,
you can't do that. So
yeah, if you deserve TV time, put them on TV. But if you gotta make up some stupid affair to get TV time, then you don't deserve to be on TV. So
I was watching SmackDown yesterday, and I found this out. Xavier Woods was doing a non-televised deal, and he tore his Achilles tendon. So he's out.
I was gonna say definitely he's out for a long time.
Yeah, I think he went under surgery. I think yesterday, but I feel bad for him because I like the New Day. That's just me.
I like the new. I didn't when they first came out.
I hated them.
I hated them. I hated them. Couldn't stand them. But man, those guys are entertaining.
They're hot sellers. I mean, they sell a lot of product.
They're entertaining. And they did it whenever they completely revamped themselves.
Yeah, pancakes,
bootios. That's when they were like trombone. Xavier Woods and his trombone. Francesca. So when they did that, man, I was like, I like these guys.
I hated it when they first came out because like Big E. I still call him Big E Langston.
Yeah, Big E Langston.
I don't care what anybody says. I'm calling him Big E Langston. But he would come out and his shtick is always the same. He's like talks like a preacher. Mm-hmm. Oh yeah.
Well, he's the one that does their intro.
Yeah, I'm just saying like before I hated it.
Yeah.
So,
but it fits with that group. It fits with their whole get up. So he's my least favorite in the group.
Yeah.
My favorite is Kofi Kingston, obviously, but Big E. He's my least favorite in the group, but as a group, the three of them, they're awesome, man. I love them.
Did you watch AEW this week?
I didn't.
Yeah.
I go to school full time and I work full time, and it's hard for me to get.
Yeah.
And I got 4 kids.
And a dog.
2 dogs now. I acquired another one.
Oh Lord.
2 nights ago.
More than me.
She's 3.8 pounds. Chihuahua mix.
So yeah, I watched it this past week. It was actually really, really good. There's just what I didn't like about it is that the main event was Moxley versus Pac, and you know because AEW is really big into like win loss. They're actually going to show you win loss.
I know when they walk out, they show you their singles, their tag team, their draws, and all that. I don't like that.
So they're really into it. So they're expressing that Moxley hadn't lost a lot and Pac hasn't lost in 2 years. So they went to a draw, and I thought that was dumb. And no one came out to interfere. It's just they just went to a draw. I said, man, come on, dude. Seriously?
What was the cause of the draw?
They just kept fighting, and
so they just called it.
Yeah, AEW does 15-minute time limits. You don't wrestle just to wrestle. They just do 15-minute time limits, and if it's like an Iron match, I'd imagine it's like an hour or 30 minutes or something like that. But other than that, I don't know. I was kind of disappointed with it, but I don't know. And Raw's talking about setting up for the Crown Jewel this weekend, which is on Thursday at 1 o'clock, I think, or 12. So we're gonna be at work whenever it's
you know where I stand on that.
Yeah. I'm going to try not to watch it, but I'm probably going to watch it.
I'll probably watch it just so I can come back on here and dog it.
I mean, they're going to do Seth versus The Fiend, and your boy Brock Lesnar versus Cain Velasquez, and
it's my favorite ever.
Braun Strowman versus Tyson the Gypsy King. I don't even know his last name, but
I just know him as the Gypsy King.
Yeah, and they're doing a big battle royale, and I think they're doing like a super 8-man tag team gauntlet match or something.
That might be worth watching.
Yeah, because I think the winner is going to either face the Revival or I forgot who's the SmackDown or the Raw champions. I forget. Anyway, so
I don't know.
I forgot. So.
I left WWE a long time ago.
No, you didn't. You still watch it. You still watch it.
I watch it every once in a while.
So we kind of ran through that kind of fast. What are your thoughts on Impact?
You want my full honest opinion?
Yeah, I'd ask Ash, but I didn't know she didn't. Do you have any thoughts on Impact?
No.
Impact Wrestling.
No. If I paid attention, I probably would.
Yeah. You watched it the other night, right?
I watched it the other night, and
Go ahead and say it.
Garbage. I'm like, man, they have good talent. They need better writers.
Yeah.
They need better entertainment because they have good talent over there. They just, the entertainment factor is just not there. And their camera angles are horrible. They don't, it's like whenever they're wrestling, I want to see the whole ring. Mm-hmm. I want to see all 4 posts of the ring. Now, if they're up on a post and they're beating the crap, I want to be in their face. I want to be in the face. I want to see them beating the crap out of each other.
Yeah.
But if they're in the middle of the ring, I don't want a close-up of them in the middle of the ring. I want to see the whole thing.
Yeah.
Because I want to see the action from post to post. TNA has this thing where they just go straight up on it when they're in the middle of the ring.
I love the fact you still call it TNA. It's Impact.
I know it's Impact. I'm sorry. I'm going back to my roots, okay?
That's awesome.
Whatever. Impact.
But
I just think they need to work on their camera work, and they need to work on the entertainment factor.
you know, it just kind of it boggles me how they're pushing these certain groups or these certain wrestlers. I mean, if I was running Impact, I would push TJP, Rick Swan, Brian Cage, of course, because he's the champion.
Who's your girl?
And
Who's your girl?
Rosemary.
Mm-hmm.
Rosemary. But I'm starting to like Tessa Blanchard a whole lot more. But they've kind of taken her out of the knockouts division, and they just.
But you said that Rosemary was hurt, right?
She hurt her knee. I think last year, and I don't think she's back 100% because she keeps doing these like appearances, but not wrestling. Like she'll show up and like hit somebody with a chair, or you know, she does the thing called the Red Wedding, which is Brock Lesnar's move, the F5. Yeah, so she does the Red Wedding, but she hasn't even done that move in a while because I don't think her knees can support whoever she's lifting anymore. But she's she signed a long-term deal with Impact, and so she's going to be there for a while.
That's good. Because she's definitely one of the better talents on the and entertainer. She's a true entertainer.
Yeah.
Tessa Blanchard's a true entertainer.
She's a wrestler.
Yeah, I'm talking, they do have wrestling talent over there, but I'm talking about they need the entertainment factor. Because they have good wrestlers over there that are good wrestlers, but they need the entertainment factor. And Rosemary definitely brings it. Tessa definitely brings it. I remember her match with oh man, I can't remember his name.
Who?
She was in Tessa Blanchard. She was in the gold with her gold bat.
Oh yeah, she was in with Sami Callihan. Is it Sami Callihan?
It wasn't Sami Callihan. It was
Crisp, the one of the OVE guys.
OVE.
Yeah.
That was a heck of a match. It was a great match. She's holding her own. She's actually whooping up on him a lot. But then the ending of it was suck. The ending of it sucked, man. The way that he beat her sucked. And I'm like, for her to have such a good match, she deserves a better ending than that. So, I don't know. They just need to work on their writing. They need to work on their entertainment factor.
I mean, they keep bringing people back. They keep bringing old wrestlers back, and I kind of like it. But the ones they're bringing back, they're bringing back like Ken Shamrock and Sabu.
Ken Shamrock's got a big match coming up against
the Moose.
The Atlanta Falcons guy.
Yeah.
They're simply just trying to use the fact that it's an MMA guy against a football player. And it should be a wrestler against a wrestler.
Yeah, because like Ken Shamrock's actually launching his own MMA thing, and I think it's the same time. So it could be just publicity and stuff like that. So
there you go. There you go.
So they're bringing like him back, and they got like RVD, which I still like RVD.
I still like RVD.
And they bring Sabu back.
Yeah, Sabu. We talked about him last time. Still going through tables, man.
Yeah, that dude.
Dang.
He needs to be, and he just needs to be at home.
Yeah. But he can't.
Yeah.
Think of how long he's been doing it.
Man,
longer than I've been alive.
Think when Paul Heyman had hair.
Oh, that's a long time.
So I don't know. I mean, they've got some good talent. We're Taya Valkyrie, which is John Morrison's wife. She's over there. She's a good talent. They have a weightlifting champion, Jordan Grace. She's pretty good.
Oh yeah.
Jake Chris was the one I was talking about. The one that was
The one that was with Tessa. That was fighting Tessa.
Blanchard. Mm-hmm. And they got Michael England, and he was over in Japan for the longest time. And I think he's a great talent. He's just a big dude, big burly dude, and he can jump off the top rope.
Is he the ones that has the weights on his?
Yeah.
He's got like the dumbbells on his outfit.
Yeah. So
or his jacket when he walks in.
I mean, they got good talent. I just think they're just pushing the wrong people at the wrong time. So it's just me. So we got 10 minutes. 10 minutes to kill. You guys want to talk about something else? Come on, man. I'm game.
Game.
Your game.
Whatever. I don't know.
Let's talk about my new puppy real quick.
Okay, go. Shoot.
All right. So we come home. I don't remember what we were doing. We came home from something. I don't remember.
You were at Babe's Chicken.
No, that was today.
Okay. Sorry.
That was delicious.
Delicious and nutritious.
Shout out to Babes. But so we come home, and my dad lives with us. And we come home, and I go straight to my room because I'm tired. I put my sleep clothes on, and I'm laying in bed. And my kids bust through the door with this little brown thing in their hands. And
Luckily,
I'm like,
it was a puppy.
I'm like, what in the heck is that? Okay. And my dad's following behind him, and he's like, look, I got this dog from a friend of mine. I'm supposed to be giving it to somebody else, but the kids took it. And
Oops.
I'm like, we already have an 80-pound dog that is a beast. We don't need another animal. All right. But then they came up to me, and they put this little critter on my chest, and I'm holding her in my arms, and she starts snuggling up under my beard, and she gets in there, and she's all cozy, and she lays down, and she closes her eyes, just like that. Just like that.
Sorry.
And she falls asleep, and instantly I fall in love. So they originally were going to name her Vanellope off of Fix It Felix.
Yeah.
And then when we put her down and she started running, she looks like a little peanut.
So you call her Peanut?
So her name's Peanut Vanellope.
Peanut Vanilla. 2 names.
So her initials are PVC.
Never trust a dog with 2 names. I'm just kidding. I'm joking. That was a joke.
Watch out! My 3.8 pound Chihuahua mix is gonna come get you. So we got a new puppy. She is absolutely adorable. I'm gonna show them a picture here. I know you guys on here can't see the picture, but
Hey, did we have a moment where Blue Diamond came out?
no, we did not.
Wow, what's up with that?
Look at this sweet.
Our routine got knocked out.
Look at this sweet little thing here. Oh, sorry. Look at her. Look at her.
Oh, she's tiny.
Yeah, she's 3.8 pounds, and I got a video of her little running around. Look at her run around.
You're sweet.
Ricardo thinks
She looks like a
this is
little
sweet.
peanut. Look at her. Look at her.
She's itty bitty. Is she house trained?
Well, they're in the middle of house training her.
Ding!
So she's so little. She's so little. We go to the store, right? None of the dog collars fit on her. None of them.
Yeah.
So I have to go get a cat collar. So I had to go to the section to get a cat collar, and the little cat collar has a bell on it. I'm like, I'm not gonna like this belt, but in fact, it works out perfect because she's
you know where she's at?
yeah, she's so little
You lose
that
it.
you lose her. So the little bell on it makes it works out perfect. So, I spent a lot of money on this dog this weekend, but if you love them, you gotta spend money on them.
It was your grandma's dog.
I think it was a grandma dog. He's a mean dog.
So
Yeah, shout out to Peanut Vanellope.
Peanut Vanellope gets a shout out.
You are loved.
Anything else you guys wanna get off your chest? You got something to talk about?
I'm good.
You're good.
That pizza you made earlier was fantastic. I give
Yeah.
you that.
I think right now we got like over 200 downloads now.
200. Hit the 200.
I don't have a 200 thing. Oh.
I'm saying we hit 200.
Oh, okay. I thought you were trying to give me the
No. You should do the.
this one.
200. That's awesome. Thank you, everybody.
Yeah.
We got people out there that like us, guys.
Yeah. Sorry.
You were my sun.
Nobody can see it, but I'm dancing with Mama Make right now.
JT, where are you?
Y'all corny.
But we have people that like us, guys,
Yeah.
and that's awesome.
Yeah.
Hey, we like all of you. Even if you don't like us, if you listen to us and you don't like us, we still like you.
And we don't care.
We do.
Because it still gets us, listens. So,
So that's awesome. 200. I hadn't checked it in a minute, so
Yeah. It's
still comment.
so
yes.
We want to hear your comments.
so it's subject to change, but right now our 5th episode is slated to have Luke Gross in studio. So I'm pretty excited about that.
I'm excited too.
Chris,
Hey, big moment here. Our Facebook page has 50 likes.
really
Oh,
nice.
Yeah. All right.
We'll probably get more once Luke gets on.
oh yeah.
Oh yeah, come on, bring it.
So
Bring it.
he's gonna be in studio, and I'm gonna have a ton of questions for him. So
Me too.
I mean, I've said this before. I can't say no good things about that guy. I mean, he's such a good person, and he means the world to me. And if anybody was to tell me, hey, go sit in a empty creek bed overnight with, just only a bottle of water, I would do it, because he's just a good dude.
If anybody were to tell you that,
Yeah, because I probably wouldn't do it now, because I'm,
hey, 210
210
downloads.
210 downloads. That's awesome.
Y'all are awesome, guys. We love you.
So yeah, he's slated for this next show. So I'm pretty excited, and I think I'm gonna try to squeeze in Kendall Wilkerson.
Oh, nice.
The following week.
That's Pentex, right?
Yeah, she's the director for Penn, Texas.
Sweet.
So she's another good person. I've actually got both of them Luke and her to meet, and so Kendall is like one of my paranormal mentors, and Luke is my Bigfoot mentor. And so I got them in the same room once, and I said, "Oh my God,
You guys be friends.
You have to like each other.
I
Do
know."
it now.
I walked over to him. I said, "You guys want to do karate in the garage?" Yeah. So, but I mean, I don't know. I'm sure there's. I mean, there's people that I love, and I love you guys. Just so y'all know, I love you guys. But those Luke and Kendall.
Oh, but
These
I love you guys, but
not.
I love them too.
you
It's
see
a little
that?
different. It's like
Yeah.
Dang, that was such
how
a.
parents don't admit they have a favorite kid, but maybe they love one just a
That was-
little more than the other.
That was such a Kenny Ortega moment.
Kenny Ortega.
So,
I love you guys, but let me tell you about these guys
but
over here.
I love them too. So, those people they're awesome.
Hey.
So.
It's just different and more.
So, 2 minutes.
Oh no.
2 minutes.
I'm
And
just gonna lay my cheek on the microphone.
so, I did shout out to Justin Timberlake, Candace, and Caitlin, and Ebes.
Ebes.
You guys want to do any shout outs?
I did a shout out to Peanut.
I know, but any more?
I don't know.
I'll always shout out to my family,
Do it.
my wife and babies.
Do it.
Always. I love you more than anything.
Ash?
And I don't have those.
Shout out to Ins and Peas.
Ins and peas.
Are we gonna call it that? Are we
Ins
gonna
and peas on the glass.
Mark your Ins and Peas.
ins and peas
In
or
the peas.
or nipples and penises?
You gotta do Ins and Peas.
Okay, because we want to be proper, right?
Ins and the peas.
Watch your Ins and Peas.
Ins and peas.
Don't put it on the glass. That's probably why she noticed. I mean, we don't
Yeah.
know like what perspective.
I mean-
but you're driving down the road, you turn your head.
Yeah,
and
and
like
bam.
who
So
knows?
so we're titling this one "Mind Your Ins and Peas."
Mind your Ins and Peas.
Okay, that's an inside joke. Only if you download it, you're gonna know what we're talking about.
Yeah, clickbait.
So, okay, with that being said, that's the name of the show. Mind Your Ins and Peas. Thank you guys for being a part of this.
We love you.
I'm gonna take it home now. So, Take me.